Good evening, everyone. So welcome. It's so great to see so many folks here tonight to celebrate Design of Vermont Architects and our 75-year milestone. For those who don't know me, my name is Eleanor Da Ponte. I have had the honor of serving as the AIA Vermont chapter president this year. I come to Vermont by way of New York City, where I worked for 9 years before. My gateway into architecture in Vermont was through Ellen Strauss from Sanford and Strauss Architects. And I have been a full-time professor of architecture and art at Norwich University for 23 years, so you guys do the math. Tonight we have a brief business meeting, some reflections looking back and ahead, and then most importantly, our award announcements. We'll make sure that you still have plenty of time left to mingle, eat, visit our sponsor and committee tables, which is where you'll find sort of committee reports of what folks have been doing all year to advocate for you. And first off, I'd like to invite April Bolin to come on up and speak on behalf of our underwriter, Brownell Windows and Doors. April, are you here? I didn't even drink anything.
Thank you. Hey, good evening, everyone. Congratulations on 75 years. That's an impressive run for any organization, and it's been fascinating to see all the images from buildings that were created, 50 years ago, 70 years ago, and today. And I think the one thing that seems to really roll through is there's so much creativity in this area and within this group. So really amazing to see. I work for Windows and Doors by Brownell, and we get to be a small part of what you guys do. And we're proud to do it, and we thank you guys for your support. So congratulations, everybody. Have a good night, and thanks for having us here.
Join us as we step into the future of architecture and design with Marvin Windows and Doors. Explore the possibilities for your project at Windows and Doors by Brownell. We value our architectural relationships and have the services, resources, and people to help get the job done right. Windows and Doors by Brownell. You create the spaces, we help with the details. Proudly an employee-owned building partner where the past and the future intertwine for your success.
So another generous round of applause for all our sponsors, our gold and silver, bronze sponsor, and our underwriter, Windows and Doors by Brownell. So I now call the AIA Vermont December business meeting to order at 6:40 p.m. on December 7th, 2024. Tonight we're considering the slate of new board members and offices to become effective starting in 2024. Is there a motion to approve the proposed slate for nominations? I see a motion. Is there a second? Okay, is there a second for this slate? Let me read it. President, Natalia Ellis. Vice President, Tom Bursey. Treasurer, Jeff McBride. Secretary, Andres Gutierrez. And immediate past president, myself. So we have a motion. I was going to do it two separate votes.
I make a motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye. Excellent. The ayes have it. And you said you had a nomination from the floor, Natalia.
I'd like to nominate Beto to join the
Hi, Beto. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, great. All in favor? Aye. Awesome. I now move to adjourn the meeting. See the faces of your friendly and hardworking board members. Make sure to seek them out tonight, thank them, share any thoughts, ideas, or dance moves you have. I would like to point out, because I didn't read the second list, but we do have a student member for 2024, Pulumi Adefarkan, which is really wonderful. So welcome, Pulumi. So we're really pleased to announce that we have hired DRM Downs Racklin Martin as our lobbyist. This initiative is the culmination of a long-term effort by AIA Vermont's Public Policy Committee to advocate for Vermont architects. They have been tracking relevant legislation, submitting written and oral testimony in support of our policy positions, most recently advocating for the enforcement and oversight of building and energy codes, helping pass the contractor registry in 2022, and continuing to advocate for a statute of repose, a good Samaritan law, and policies supporting affordable housing. Both Andrew Brewer and Patty Comline are here tonight. Can they please stand so we can see what they look like in person? Yay! They have been and will be at the Public Policy Committee table. Make sure to say hi to them. They are here to meet you, hear from you about your policy concerns, ask them questions, find out how to get involved. And if you haven't yet, please consider contributing to our advocacy fundraiser. We're incredibly close to our goal of $24,000. AIA Vermont and DRM will be working hard for you. Please support that work by making a donation at the table tonight or visiting the advocacy page on our website. I'm just going to give Public Policy a round of applause for all of the incredible work to get to this point. So our theme, Back to the Future, offers an opportunity to glimpse at some past professional milestones nationally, for AIA, and for our state. In context, maybe these policies and events begin to provide a catalyst for conversation and reflection. AIA National was formed by 13 architects in 1857, after which in 1948, the Vermont Association of Architects was established with architect Ruth Reynolds Freeman of Freeman elected president. She's believed to have been the first woman to serve in that capacity in the country. She was also appointed by Vermont Governor Robert T. Stafford to the Vermont State Board of Registration in 1959, after its formation in 1951. She was one of only 3 women to be granted a license to practice architecture in Vermont, and it would be another 10 years until another woman was registered to practice here. The passing of the American Disabilities Act in 1990, interesting to note that it was preceded by a series of legislative initiatives, the first which was passed in 1961. So it was at least 30 years in the making in terms of advocacy and visioning. The National Historic Preservation Act was passed in 1966, which elevated the importance of a heritage of culture and of buildings. The recent Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 will hopefully enable architects to promote and work on projects with clients across a broader budget base. So maybe better buildings won't necessarily mean expensive or more expensive buildings. So noting the connection between policy and cultural shifts is interesting to reflect upon. In a powerful piece of history from 1947, Ruth Freeman was invited alongside iconic modern architects Louis Kahn, Edward Durrell Stone, and Pietro Belluschi to submit a design for a passive solar house. The publication, called Your Solar House, was sponsored by Libby Owens Ford, the first glass company to manufacture insulating double-glazed windows. So looking ahead to 2047, what policies can we envision and advocate for with respect to solar-informed design? Maybe 100 years from that publication, that'll be standard. And looking forward even further, can we envision a state where our buildings are not just zero carbon, but also regenerative? In 2022, AIA Vermont implemented a 5-year strategic plan which focuses on member engagement, public outreach, and climate action. And a huge milestone, as was mentioned, towards reaching these goals is to hire DRM. Thanks to our Vermont State architectural historian, Devin Coleman, we have a lot of resources to learn about the history of the profession in Vermont. One example here from a Burlington Free Press article dated 1948 announces Ruth's presidency at AIA Vermont. Here she's shown seated with her partners, John French on the left with glasses, and Bill Freeman standing on the right. Ruth's significant contributions with her partners to bring a modernist aesthetic to the state can be seen in a couple of these buildings. The Burlington Federal Savings and Loan Association, which is on the lower right, was built in 1958 and introduced the curtain wall to downtown Burlington. When Vermont's downhill ski industry took off in the 1960s, the firm promoted modernist designs for the new base lodge on the upper left, such as the 1962 Star Shelter at the Middlebury College Snow Bowl. Their own home on DeForest Road, Burlington, from 1942, which you can look at on Zillow, by the way, was designed in a modernist style. It has a gently sloped roof, a first story of brick and glass block, and vertical wood cladding above. The house advertised modernity, a modern aesthetic, to a reluctant Vermont public when colonial revival was still the preferred aesthetic. On the lower left is an image of St. Mark's Church in Burlington, featuring a spare, modern interior, exposed brick walls, oak wainscoting, and pews, and beautiful red marble floors. Unfortunately, tonight, we don't have time to do justice to all the other architects and firms that could be named for pioneering a unique Vermont modern aesthetic, but we do have a slideshow running on the right with all of the submissions for the 75-year award. So I hope you'll take a minute to look at those. And I pass the proverbial metaphorical and physical mic to Natalia Ellis, our incoming president.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm Natalia Ellis. I work for Freeman French Freeman, and I'm very happy to see so many French? Well, I can't do it. So happy to see you guys here. I would like to do a little bit of looking ahead into the future. So bear with me. We're going to do a little bit of time traveling. First, we're going to go to the past. So to go to the past, I asked Google, show me an architectural firm. And yeah, one of the first images that you get of an architectural firm happens to be 75 years ago. And I'm happy we don't look like that anymore. So I needed to figure out how to go to the future. That was a little bit harder because I couldn't ask Google, show me architectural firm in the future. So I asked AI, and I said, show me an architectural firm 75 years from now. And this is how we're gonna look. We are gonna be working really hard, we're gonna be really tired, and we're gonna be into paper airplanes for some reason. So I really hope AI is just wrong, because I don't think this should be our future. And I don't think this is going to be our future because there's a lot of great people here, and I would like to celebrate all of them who are here. So I'm going to start calling out some people, and I would like for you to stand up when I call you. And please keep standing all the way to the end because I want to see this amazing group of people that we have here. So first, if you're part of the AIA board or any committee or have volunteered this year, please stand up. Ooh. Yeah. If you are an AIA fellow or you have been an AIA president in the last 75 years, please stand up. Great. There's more coming. If you are newly licensed, if you are a new AIA member, please stand up. I see some people standing up in the back. And this year, we also had some amazing volunteers. Diantha, Brian, Sandy, Bob, David, Dave, and Donna. You guys were extraordinary this year, moving a lot of issues. Helping us out in so many ways. So please stand up if you're here as well. And lastly, scholarship recipients, please stand up. Awesome. And I would like to just give a round of applause to all these people. Woo! And this is why I hope AI is wrong, because we have a lot of amazing people here, and I have hope for our future. And I'm going to pass the mic to Darren. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. It's so good to see all of you here. This is one of our maybe largest events in the last few years, and that's exciting. We're growing. I'm here to present the John Dale Award. This is an award that was established in 2020 in honor of the late John Dale as an award that was intended to recognize a member of our organization. We spend a lot of time recognizing the work that we do, and it was important to me to recognize all of you as people. This person that gets nominated comes from our profession, but is also a community member, someone who is a thoughtful leader and an advocate for diversity and social equity. I'm excited this year to announce that the award winner of the John Dale Award is Talia Stoneroff. Talia was nominated by her colleague, Kara Armstrong. She was the top choice of this award this year as selected by the AIA Awards Committee and the Executive Committee. Talia's educational and professional work is recognized by multiple AIA awards and Efficiency of Vermont awards. Her work is published and exhibited at the Echo Museum and the Boston Expo. It is admired for the quality of the design and her process of collaboration. Here's a few words that I picked out of the nomination letter. Inclusive collaboration, experiential learning and research, meaningful instances of creativity, humble hard work and awareness, community engagement, opportunity generator, students testing ideas, impactful connection, cross-disciplinary, and my favorite, architecture infused with passion. So thank you, Talia, for the work that you do, and I welcome you to announce the recipient of the prize that you worked so hard to get.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored and humbled to receive this award. I'm really grateful to AIA Vermont for recognizing the impact that architecture can have on community and social justice. And I want to acknowledge that this award is truly an acknowledgement of the collaborative efforts of so many, including my brilliant husband and co-founder of Stoneroff Workshop, Otto Stoneroff, my inspiring and supportive colleagues at Norwich University, including Eleanor Da Ponte, our dear president, the students who I've worked with over the years on all of these projects, a few of whom are here today. Hire them, they're amazing. And of course, the communities who have welcomed us into their midst. I've been so grateful to work on community projects like the rebuilding of Montpelier post-flood this summer, outdoor classrooms, low-income housing, currently a composting privy for Hubbard Park, and then to be able to work on 2 books also that deal with architecture and social justice. So as part of this award, I'm so thrilled that a really sizable donation is going to be made to the Vermont Women's Fund. This organization plays a pivotal role in supporting women and girls in Vermont and empowering them to reach their goals and their dreams. So thank you to AIA Vermont. Thank you so much for supporting this work and for acknowledging the importance of community organizing through architecture. Thank you.
Should I flip? Yes.
So, Sarah, did you stand up and get a round of applause?
None of this would happen without Sarah.
Yeah, just a couple of words about Sarah. Brilliant, really very smart woman, and super engaging and amazing collaborator. And we've got you a special little gift from the entire board. So thank you.
Now I'd like to invite Ryan to the stage for what we've all been waiting for. Oh, Jeff. I like Jeff too. Jeff can come up.
Just great.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Good. I'm Jeff Stetter. I am co-chair of the Design Awards Committee, along with my cohort Ryan Edwards here. We're going to get into the annual design awards. This is the annual design awards portion of tonight. We'll get into the 75-year awards later. We had, just in brief, we had 27 submissions this year for the annual awards. 6 awards were given. 52% were single-family residential. 30% were commercial, institutional, multifamily, or mixed use. 11% were historic preservation, adaptive reuse, rehabilitation, and then 7% were small project. Just the awards committee. Let's see. There we go. The awards committee. Again, myself. Again, I would also second Sarah's involvement. I really fear what the awards committee would actually be or do without Sarah to keep us in line and keep things moving forward. So thank you, Sarah, for everything you do for us. Onto the committee, the Jeff McBride. He's our XCOM representative. This year's treasurer and next year's treasurer. I mean, who does 2 years as treasurer? I mean, thanks, Jeff. Ben Bugzlowski, he's with REARC. He's our newest member. Great having Ben's perspective on the committee. And again, my co-chair, Ryan Edwards. And I'm going to turn it over to Ryan for the first half of the program.
Thanks, Jeff. Hi, everyone. Next, we'd like to introduce this year's fantastic jury from AIA Grand Rapids in Michigan. None of them were able to make the event this evening, but they were Todd Stevens, FAIA, Ben Franceschi, AIA, Sarah Carter, Associate AIA, Katie Potts, AIA, and Dan Tyrer, AIA. For more information on this year's jury, please be sure to visit the awards committee table in the back, or you can read all about them on the AIA Vermont website anytime. As an overview of the deliberation process for our annual design awards, jurors are tasked with applying the AIA Framework for Design Excellence, which is comprised of 10 core defining principles for good design. In advance of the deliberation, jurors are provided with a standardized pre-ranking sheet and are asked to objectively pre-rank all of the projects against the framework. These pre-rankings allow for an objective baseline from which the jury deliberation is facilitated. The jury, however, is free to award and recognize any projects they collectively feel are deserving based on design merit, so long as the projects meet the standards of the framework. For more information on this framework of design excellence or our chapter's jury deliberation process, you of course may speak with Jeff and I anytime, or again, visit the AIA Vermont website. Before we dive into this year's award winners, just one bit of housekeeping. At the conclusion of each project, we will ask that a representative from the winning firm come forward to receive their award certificate. However, due to time constraints, no remarks will be given, and all photographs will be taken at the end of the proceedings. With all that said, let's present and celebrate this year's annual AIA Vermont Design Awards. Our first project, receiving a citation award in the Commercial Institutional Multifamily Mixed-Use category, goes to GB Architecture of Montpelier for Bellows Falls Garage in Bellows Falls, Vermont. Completed in August 2023, this 27-unit, 32,000 square foot project brought new life to a prominently located historic concrete structure sited along the Connecticut River in Bellows Falls, and with it, much needed energy-conscious, affordable housing for the community. The jury appreciated the project's artful resurrection of this historic building and applauded all of the amazing things this project was able to accomplish in remediating and recapitalizing the site. Primarily, the project's success in making this building a community asset once again. Specifically, the jury appreciated the level of community involvement that the architects implemented during the programming phase. The jury also applauded the architects with prioritizing the view corridor of the building and noted that the plan does a beautiful job at ensuring that every single one of the units is enhanced by the effects of blue space being right on the water. Overall, the jury felt that this was an exceptionally strong project in all aspects. Would a representative from GB Architecture please come up to receive your award? Our next project, receiving a Merit Award in the Commercial Institutional Use category, goes to Bull Stockwell Allen for Rosebrook Lodge in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. Completed in July 2020, this 17,000 square foot building strives to set the standard for year-round on-mountain hospitality. The structure's blade-like form was informed by the site's rugged terrain, a U.S. Forest Service boundary, existing skier traffic, and a new top-of-the-mountain gondola that connects the building to the valley below. The jury felt that this project displayed a high level of material rigor from the slate floor all the way to the rhythm of the steel and infill of the wood, representing an incredibly strong, consistent use of the palette throughout the entire building. In addition, the jury felt that this project does an incredibly wonderful job at contextualizing itself from a siting perspective and connecting to the adjacent gondola. The jury felt that this project provides a number of really beautiful opportunities to engage with the architecture, whether it's an event outside or more intimate kind of gathering inside. And finally, the jury applauded this project's beautiful framing of the site's incredible views and appreciated the connection to the site's landscape. Would a representative from Bull Stockwell Allen please come up to receive your award? Our next project, receiving an honor award in the commercial institutional use category, goes to Bird's Eye for Annex in Williston, Vermont. This three-sided glass-walled studio and gallery space showcases the art of Vermont stone sculptor Richard Erdman and embodies Erdman's passion for organically presenting his work among nature. Annex was designed collaboratively with the artist and in the spirit of Donald Judd's Chianti and Marfa, Texas, where Judd, quote, considered the space around a piece intrinsic to its proper appreciation and felt the artist should be deeply involved in the design of the space showcasing their work. Equally inspired by the agrarian landscape and the artist's sculptural language, the jury applauded this project's beautiful connection to the landscape and its exceptionally strong dialogue between it and the other buildings on the site. The jury also appreciated the strong contrast between the interior and exterior of the space, paired with this project's very simple detailing and strong materiality. The jury also felt that the scale of this project was important to mention, as the space wonderfully highlights the sculptures within and forms an intentional relationship to the program inside. Would a representative from Bird's Eye please come up to receive your award? All right, here comes Jeff.
Thanks, Ryan. Our next award is an honor award in the institutional category for the Johnson Memorial Building Project at Middlebury College to McLeod Architects. Goals of the project included universal access and wayfinding, energy efficiency, a 37% reduction in air leakage was achieved in the project, life safety upgrades, historic preservation of a 1967 brutalist building, and the overriding goal to make the arts more accessible, both physical and psychological, to the rest of the campus. Jury comments included, the beauty here is also the balance that it strikes between old and new. It does a really great job of introducing new elements to address historic issues, especially around accessibility, while celebrating the original form. The submission tells a clear story of the development of the project, including before and after imagery and diagrams. Interesting positive, negative spatial relationship in interpreting the existing main hall to inform the scale of the new entrance pavilion. Enhanced connection to the quad strengthens the relationship to campus. The new addition brings life to the existing brutalist architecture. It adds another kind of welcoming gesture to the campus, especially in its ability to navigate the universal design aspects of getting into the project, and then leveraging the obstacles, the steps themselves, as features throughout the site. Congratulations to McLeod Architects. The representative for McLeod, please come up to receive your award. The next project, receiving an honor award for the Chalet Papillon, designed by Robitaille Curtis. Nestled in the Laurentian Mountains along Lac Notre Dame, the chalet was designed as a rural getaway for a young family of 5 and their friends. Working with the steep, narrow, densely wooded site, the aim was to minimize site disturbance and deforestation. To achieve this, The two-story house was oriented parallel to the site contours atop a steep section of exposed granite ledge. The layout enables lake views from two elevations, and the east end to extend out as a dramatic balcony elevated more than 85 feet above the water. White walls, radiant heated concrete floors, pale timber all contribute to the bright and airy atmosphere. After extensive energy modeling, tweaks to the design were made to optimize the home's energy performance while balancing aesthetic goals. Aperture sizes and locations of triple glazed windows were carefully considered as part of these efforts. Jury comments included: to turn it in a plan like this so that it's connecting to the long view was interesting. The adherence to the view and not to the norm of just perpendicular to the lake was really strong. I love the simple restraint of this building. The forms on the outside are found in the inside as well. There's a real relationship with nature, and the house takes a backseat to the views. It has a nice, simple use of materials. Congratulations to Robitaille Curtis. Would a representative from Robitaille Curtis please come up to receive your award? If you know Side Hill Design, he is a member of our awards committee. So felt the need to say that, just so it's clear, Jeff recused himself from all competition planning, jury selection, and facilitation since he submitted an award. Believe it or not, we as a committee take our work very seriously, most of the time, and are committed to ensuring impartiality in the judging process. So if anybody has any issue with that, they can certainly talk to us directly. With that said, our last project receiving an honor award in the single-family residential category is Woodlands by Side Hill Design. The residence encompasses a variety of communal, let's get this thing rolling here. Beautiful project, got to see the pictures. Let's see, residence encompasses a variety of communal and private areas, enabling the balance necessary in a multi-generational household. Woodlands is connected to its forest setting and strives to minimize its environmental impact. The house uses no fossil fuels, has a HERS index score of 2, and was sited to connect to existing trails and outdoor spaces. The residence is composed of 3 gables with interstitial flat roofs, organized and connected to define the program of the house and outdoor living spaces. Jury comments included: has incredible detailing. It's a simple, sophisticated detailing system while using one material. The forms work really well with each other and in concert with each other. There's a really nice relationship between inside and out. The planning diagram is very clear. This is a multi-generational house. It finds a beautiful balance of multiple families cohabitating under one roof. Congratulations to Side Hill Design. Jeff, come on up. Got a couple more picks here. Well, I'd just like to say thanks to all the firms and architects that submitted work this year. After having done this a few years now, it's very clear to me that competition is strong. It gets stronger every year. Like every submission that was submitted this year, in some year or another, it could have won an award. So if you didn't win an award, don't feel bad or just angry or anything, because juries are incredibly fickle. Like it can take one comment and like talking about a project, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, scored really high, everything. Next, somebody says something about it, it just takes a big turn. So if you feel strongly about it, submit it again. It's worth the time. So we'll be now moving on to the 75th Annual Awards Program with our past president now, Eleanor, and juror Devin Coleman. Thank you.
So good evening, I'm Devin Coleman. I'm the state architectural historian at the Vermont Division for Historic Preservation, and part of my job is literally to admire your work. So keep it up. There's great buildings in Vermont, and this was especially interesting to do, to look back 75 years at what's happened in Vermont architecture. And so that goes back to 1948, and certainly there are plenty of wonderful buildings in Vermont that are much older than 1948, but this was an interesting slice to look at. And I'd like to say thank you to Vermont AIA for including me as a juror, and on behalf of all the other jurors, we would like to certainly thank all of you who submitted projects for consideration. It was not easy. There was great discussion. And I think that really speaks to the vitality of Vermont's architectural community, that there were so many interesting projects to choose from. Eventually, we did have to narrow it down and actually choose some winners. So we will start off with, we had two 75-year award citations. And the first one is for the Mountain Campus at Burr and Burton Academy in Manchester, designed by architect Randall S. Walter. This building functions as a living classroom on a 100-acre wooded parcel. Each term, a small group of students comes together on the mountain campus to spend a semester engaged in the study of the surrounding landscape and community, its past, present, and potential future. The multidisciplinary curriculum is designed to be challenging and invigorating, and this LEED Platinum and Net Zero building serves as a teaching device for students that are in the program. It incorporates elements of energy efficiency and sustainability into the design as educational components for students to discover during the course of their semester studies. Concepts of thermal mass, orientation to the angle of the sun, placement on the site, and the use of local materials all serve as educational tools for the students. The distinctive design is filled with daylight, open and engaging, lots of windows and skylights, and references the surrounding forest with the use of tree trunks as supporting posts. Ideally, a project like this will inspire its users and encourage responsible stewardship through design and construction. Is Randall here? Congratulations. Our next award citation is for the Pitcher Inn in Warren. This was designed by Baston Root Architects and Sellers & Co. When the 19th century Pitcher Inn suffered a devastating fire in the early 1990s, there was fear that the institution would not reopen, and in fact that it might be replaced with a convenience store. Bast, Rood, and Sellers, working together with a vision for a new inn on the site, shown here, sorted out all the permitting issues and a lot of issues with this early project, and were able to bring in Wynne Smith to purchase the property. At that point, construction was fast-tracked, apparently with construction documents being produced while the project was being built, staying just a step ahead of the contractors. Design build, Mad River Valley. David Sellers designed the building and oversaw the creation of the uniquely themed guest rooms, each representing a different aspect of Vermont life or Vermont history. Mac Rood, for example, designed the Chester Arthur Room, Arthur being one of two presidents from Vermont. Working with scores of colleagues, designers, and craftspeople, including masons, muralists, woodcarvers, furniture makers, and so on, Baston Root Architects and Sellers & Co. created an artisanal, one-of-a-kind experience for visitors and guests to enjoy. And these are some of the guest room. Every guest room is very different and a special experience if you haven't been there. The new Pitcher Inn opened in 1997 and is going strong today. And we have a representative here to accept the award. Congratulations. And now for the 75-year award winners. Our first award is for Glazebrook House by Turner Brooks. This was actually Turner's first house design, created for a potter and her son who needed an affordable house in which to live and work. This is in Bristol. Brooks' design fee was paid, and I'm going to enunciate here, it was paid in pots. To avoid any confusion, ceramic pots, and he made $4.50 an hour as the carpenter who built the house. The cost of the project was under $20,000 for a 1,300 square foot structure. The gabled portion contains the main living area, including the kitchen and dining room with bedrooms above it. And the shed element includes the pottery studio below and a balcony above that both bedrooms open onto. Now the kiln is built away from the house and connected to the studio via a trestle with small gauge railroad tracks salvaged from an old brick factory. Pots are loaded onto a rolling cart in the studio and then wheeled out on the tracks to the kiln to be fired. Oriented on a single axis, the house slides through the landscape as it comes out of the woods. The jury noted that this project introduced a new Vermont vernacular, comprised of modular and distributed forms. It has the feel of an old Vermont farmhouse that has been added onto and evolved over the decades to suit the needs of the owner. And Turner, accept your award. Next award is for the Church Street Marketplace. If there's one project that everyone knows, this is it. And this is, we thought as a jury, really important to recognize because Church Street Marketplace is so familiar and so ingrained in Burlington, it's easy to take for granted and forget that it actually is a designed space. It feels just right and has become an essential part of Burlington's urban fabric. The Church Street Marketplace had its genesis in the early 1960s when Bill Truex hit upon the idea of trying to create a vibrant public outdoor space for Burlington, inspired by the pedestrian plazas of Europe. After several small-scale temporary installations and road closures, the project was formally approved and involved an unprecedented closing of a major vehicular artery in the downtown area to create pedestrian linkages throughout the downtown. Collectively, these and other urban enhancements vastly improved the quality of Burlington's downtown, contributing to the city center's lively character and commercial vitality. Some might ask, why is a pedestrian plaza getting an architecture award? But as a jury, we felt very strongly that this project is architecturally minded because it highlights, celebrates, and energizes the historic buildings on either side of the street and really brings them to the forefront of the experience of the Church Street Marketplace. Consider the alternative option, which took place just one block to the west, which was urban renewal and the raising of 12 square blocks of Burlington. This is a much better solution and has stood the test of time. So we are very pleased to recognize the innovative and successful Church Street Marketplace in Burlington. And we have someone from Truex Collins who'd like to accept. Oh, Tom. Oh, yeah.
Thanks so much.
Our next award is for the Bundy Modern in Waitsfield. A hidden gem. Set in a landscaped sculpture park at the end of a long, steep dirt road through a tunnel of evergreens, and perched on the edge of a half-acre parabolic pond, The building was designed by architect Harlow Carpenter in 1963 and conceived as a contemporary country museum. Isn't that nice? Originally known as the Bundy Art Gallery, the facility displayed artwork by leading artists of the mid-20th century and offered free art classes for both children and adults. It also contained an art library, presented free concerts in the galleries. It is now known as the Bundy Modern, and it's a stunning example of pure modernism in a country setting. Owners June and Wendell Anderson have undertaken a thoughtful and sensitive rehabilitation of the building and continue its original use as an arts and cultural center. I recall my first visit to the building. It was shortly after they purchased it in 2014, and observing a stream of water coming through the roof into the gallery, and they were cool. They had the roofers on the job, and it didn't faze them. And I thought, okay, they're the right people for this. Because they saw the innate quality of the building and were willing to dive in and undertake its rehabilitation. Our jury noted the successful integration of the modernist architecture with the surrounding landscape and how the scale of the building really feels just right. And best of all, you can all visit the Bundy Modern and experience it for yourself. Check the website for their next exhibition opening. So, June and Wendell. Next, we have an award for the Cathedral Church of St. Paul in Burlington, 1973, by Tom Collins and Burlington Associates. And I'd say few buildings in Burlington command their site the way this cathedral building does, planted at the corner of Battery Street and Pearl Street, overlooking the lake. It was the result of an architectural competition sponsored by the American Institute of Architects and designed by Burlington Associates and Tom Collins. When selecting the winning design in 1972, the AIA jurors noted the design best expressed, quote, what the parish was trying to do with the cathedral in terms of liturgy and serving the needs of the community. They also noted the use of light to highlight areas of the church interior, as we see here, and praised the overall drama and simplicity of the design. That was the headline in the Free Press. Jurors select design of drama and simplicity, which I think is really nicely sums up this building. It is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and the cathedral is a rare example of a brutalist building in both Burlington and the state, and the building has really been embraced by the congregation and celebrated for its distinctive architecture. Renowned for its fine acoustics, the interior is enlivened by colorful textiles commissioned by the congregation, and its movable furnishings allow for multiple configurations of the interior space as needed. As noted by our jury, the building embodies the prevalent feeling of the mid-20th century that the new cathedral ought to redefine what a cathedral should look like and return to medieval ideas about the vital role of a cathedral in its city. 50 years later, the Cathedral Church of St. Paul continues to be an important piece of Burlington's cultural, architectural, and religious communities. Tom, accept the award.
Can I just say one word?
Can you say one word?
One word.
Okay.
I accept this with Bill Henderson. He was the co-conspirator on this building. It wouldn't have happened without him. He's not here, and so I just pass on that recognition.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So the next award is for Hula, 2021 by SAS Architects. The building that we are in this very moment. The Blodgett Oven Factory formerly occupied this 14-acre site in Burlington's South End neighborhood along Prime waterfront. The complex, coated with decades of manufacturing grime, sat as a decaying barrier to public access. The Hula Project sought to continue the waterfront transformation by returning the factory and the land to community use while also creating a new center for technology and innovation in Vermont. The two large factories, close to 150,000 square feet in total, have been utterly transformed. The exterior shells were insulated and opened with long swaths of efficient glazing to offer daylight and visual connection to the lake and mountains beyond. Rooftop solar arrays and a geothermal system make the building a leader in sustainability. The interior spaces have been designed to emphasize community connection with offices, workspaces, cafes, lounges, and event spaces organized throughout, allowing companies of all sizes to grow and feed off a collective communal energy. The jury noted a wonderful revitalization of a building with a prominent lakeside location, which reinvents an existing structure rather than tearing it down and building a new multi-story building or buildings in its place, as has become commonplace with prominent sites in Burlington. The creation of an internal collective community space for use by users and the public alike. It is a project which raises the bar for commercial space in Burlington. It has beautiful detailing and incredibly sophisticated and transformative interiors with wonderful landscaping and environmental considerations which enhance the building and the site. Is there someone from SAS coming up? Wonderful. Okay, so our next 75-year award goes to the Union Mutual Insurance Building in Montpelier, Vermont, built in 1958 by Freeman French Freeman. The Union Mutual Fire Insurance Building in Montpelier is one of Vermont's finest examples of modern architecture. It is still owned and occupied by Union Mutual, and the building looks much the same today as it did when it first opened in 1958. The building's exterior of steel, stone, glass, and concrete blends effortlessly into the surrounding landscape. Though thoroughly modern, the building's timeless quality and use of natural materials allows it to sit comfortably alongside many of Vermont's most cherished historic buildings in Montpelier. What's more, the building continues to serve its original owner as a place of business, thanks to thoughtful additions and careful upgrades. The jury noted its impressive long-term care of a beautifully designed building, the subtle and thoughtfully sited building, which is sympathetic to its context, and admired how it's nestled beautifully into its site, which has only improved over time with its aging landscape. Someone from Freeman French Freeman here? Okay, the next 75-year award goes to the former Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception in Burlington, Vermont from 1977. The architect is Edward Larrabee Barnes, and the landscape architect Dan Irving Kiley. It was nominated by Preservation Burlington. So in 1972, following the fiery destruction of the original cathedral, the Roman Catholic Diocese chose to build a new modern cathedral of the Immaculate Conception on the same downtown site. Embracing an optimistic and forward-thinking approach to the design of the new cathedral, the diocese hired building architect Edward Larrabee Barnes and landscape architect Daniel Urban Kiley to create an urban sanctuary for quiet reflection, contemplation, and religious practice. It's constructed of glazed green and brown brick with a soaring copper roof and sits in the midst of a grove of honey locust trees planted in a skewed grid. The angles of the triangular sanctuary are carried into the landscape by linear tree plantings, and the building's glazed brick references the brown trunks and green foliage of the honey locusts. The site and building design are interdependent and represent one of the very few projects in Vermont that combines the skill and vision of two acknowledged modern masters in their respective fields. It's no longer used by the diocese for religious services, and the fate of this important modernist landmark in Burlington's urban core is unknown. A note, Devin Coleman and Susan McClure recused themselves from the deliberation of this project. And the jury notes speak to a project embodying the best of advocacy, quality of architecture, and quality of landscape. Stated the quality of this project ranks among the architecture of Le Corbusier's Ronchamp and with the wonderful modernist churches of Columbus, Indiana, an exceptional contemporary religious space with every detail meticulously resolved. Is a project which has evolved from a singularly religious building to one with meaningful civic significance, a quality not to be understated, and a celebration of Vermont materials. So congratulations. Is someone from Eleanor's already forgotten? Hold on. The Edward Larrabee Barnes. Great, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, next award, Rock of Ages Visitor Center in Graniteville, Vermont from 2002, GB Architecture. This visitor center is highly visible and acts as a front doorway to an already popular tourist destination for the Rock of Ages Corporation. The overall open design serves as a welcoming starting point to both factory and granite quarry tours. The design of the center had to visually compete with a massive manufacturing plant, which it serves while sitting adjacent to it on the same site. The grades of the ground plane were sculpted to form a shallow dome that gives the building foreground height over the manufacturing plant, and the curved forms of the building and the site elements serve as a counterpoint to the blocky massing of the factory. A floating plane roof, tilted on two axes, is perched above the site on randomly spaced and sized columns. Trees planted within the circular bus access drive are similarly placed to reinforce the interior and exterior interface. The jury noted the plan itself is a work of modernist art. The quarry is a jagged, hard landscape versus the warm and soft visitor center. It is a cut above what would be expected from a small corporate entity. It is a piece of memorable architecture, a beautiful pavilion in the landscape, a descendant of Mies van der Rohe's Berlin Museum, and a wonderful, sophisticated form with a playful, artful interior. Terrifically successful. GBA, GB Architecture. Congratulations. The Marlborough College Student Housing Project from 2002, architect Turner Brooks. This dormitory was designed for 18 students at a small liberal arts college in southern Vermont. Built near the top of a hill and slipping through a grove of old sugar maples, it overlooks the campus buildings on the slope below. Individual four-person units include a kitchen and a bath, giving the students a degree of autonomy. And at the same time, the units connect directly to a generous, meandering common space, which has been designed to accommodate both small and larger group activities. The jury noticed this is a lyrical building. It has a wonderful interaction between architecture and landscape, exhibits a masterful play of sighting, scale, and light, and the large interior shared corridor transcends typical corridor space into a wonderful communal space. And lastly, it's important to honor wood construction in New England. Congratulations to Turner Brook. So on behalf of AIA Vermont, let's have a round of applause for all of our award winners. And all of the fantastic entries. And if the award-winning teams want to come up towards the front for photographs, that would be really much appreciated. And we thank you for joining us this evening. The bar is still open, desserts will be served, and please continue to enjoy the rest of the night.